Good evening. This is the New Dawn FM News in English, read to you by Dolores Talasi. First, the headlines. State of emergency Easter orders. Shops to remain closed during Easter period. Students repatriating into the region to follow same quarantine process. Bougainville leaders urged to work together. And no flights allowed into Bougainville without PPCs in place. Now the news in detail. The State of Emergency Controller, Deputy Police Commissioner Francis Tokura, last night issued orders for the Easter holiday that all PMV will not carry passengers in town during the Easter holidays and that all shops to remain closed until Tuesday morning. All Easter activities by churches will be limited only to 10 persons and that people must celebrate Easter quietly at their homes. Because the ABG House of Representatives has extended the state of emergency for 2 months, new orders will be issued after the Easter festivities for people to follow. Meanwhile, at about midday today, about 12 masked armed men fronted up to the beach house used by BCM Trading and held up the owner for monies from his store. The incident took place in broad daylight, and the culprits could not get away because their boat failed to start. They hid behind a buka market and continued to fire shots to keep people away until another boat helped them. Residents from Kokopau, who also witnessed the show, call on the State of Emergency Controller to make sure police on duty are also armed to defend the business houses and the citizens. They said that the man was stuck at the beach for 20 minutes until help came. As part of the restrictions during the Easter period, several orders were issued yesterday that all shops in the region are to remain closed until Tuesday, the 14th of April. The State of Emergency Controller, Francis Tokura, said shops should remain closed starting today and over the weekend until Tuesday. The SOE Controller also issued another order restricting PMVs from traveling throughout the region during the Easter period. Mr. Tokura said these orders were issued to take some control measures on the movement of people and very importantly for health reasons. He appeals to the people in the region again to comply with the SOE orders because it has been brought to his attention that people have been ignorant and not complying with the orders. Mr. Tokura issued a letter to all denominations throughout Bougainville to comply with the SOE orders and not allow more than 10 people to attend church services. Meanwhile, the SOE Controller will soon issue additional orders to the existing orders as soon as the new orders are finalized. Bougainville students studying in other provinces must follow the same quarantine process on arrival in Bougainville, said ABG Minister for Lands and Physical Planning, Honorable Robert Amal Sawa. He said if the government is thinking of repatriating students from outside the region, they must be monitored under the 14-day quarantine process. Honorable Sawa said Bougainville's population is very small and it's a need that the government must protect it from the pandemic. He said if the government doesn't protect the population, it will be running a nation without people in the future, as the pandemic does not distinguish. He said whoever coming into Bougainville must be cleared before exposing himself or herself to the public and their family. You are listening to the New Dawn FM News. Deputy State of Emergency Controller and Acting Chief Secretary of ABG has appealed to the Bougainville's national members of parliament to not divide the people by doing a set of activities that does not connect to what ABG is doing in dealing with the COVID-19 in the region. Mr. Thomas Rairet made the appeal saying there is already a constituency approach in the region where awareness is being carried out on COVID-19. He said national MPs should not come in with programs to also carry out awareness on COVID-19, as this will only divide people up. Mr. Rivet said there is a need to synchronize, unite, and fight the COVID-19 together. He appealed to the national MPs to come in and work together with the Bougainville leaders in combat against the COVID-19 in the region. Minister for Lands and Physical Planning and member for Agogo, Honorable Robert Amal Sawa, declared during the parliament session that it is important that flights must not be allowed into Bougainville without personal protective equipment in place. No flights will be coming into Bougainville unless we have the appropriate PPEs at the airports to check the passengers when they arrive, Mr. Sawa said. Honorable Sawa said Bougainville does not have the protective equipment as yet to accept Bougainville students and relatives from other provinces. He said to monitor, observe, and quarantine persons of interest, Bougainville need the PPEs to carry out these safety measures. Therefore, he said airports will not be opened until the PPEs are received. This has been the New Dawn FM News in English. You can also see our news on www.bougainvillenews.com, www.bougainville.typepad.com. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. You can also listen to us on New Dawn FM YouTube page. On behalf of the news team, I am Dolores Talassi. You have a pleasant evening.